All right, here we go.
To continue, you've listened to a long and complex case, murder in the first degree. A premeditated
I recently just did this.
in our criminal courts. You've listened to the testimony. You've had the law read to you and interpreted as it applies in this case. It's now your duty to sit down and try and separate.
And I would do it again.
One man is dead. Another man's life is at stake. If there's a reasonable doubt in your minds as to the guilt of the accused, a reasonable doubt, the bench will not entertain a recommendation for mercy. The death sentence is mandatory in this case. You're faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, gentlemen.
Henry Fonda. Nice. I don't know how juries worked back then, but I wonder why it's all men. I'm guessing no women could be on a jury. Oh, that sucks.
How'd you like it?
Oh, I don't know. It was pretty interesting.
I almost fell asleep.
I mean, I've never been on a jury before.
Actually, someone fell asleep when I was in a jury. Started snoring pretty loud. It was funny.
This one, I mean, did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're entitled.
They're entitled, it's the system, but if you ask me, I'd slap those tough kids down before they start any trouble.
I mean, it had a lot of interest for me. No real dead spots, you know what I mean? I tell you, we were lucky to get a murder case. I figured that's for an assault or burglary. Boy, they can be the dullest.
Actually, I'd rather those. It's easier.
On a messenger service, the Beck and Call Company. The name is my wife's idea. Got 37 men working. Started with nothing.
Okay, man, let's take our seats, huh?
You know, boom! Real jug handle. You know? Boom! You're a real baseball fan, aren't you, huh?
Say, we'd like to get started. Gentlemen at the window. We'd like to get started.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Pretty tempting.
He's like in another world.
Oh, listen, you analyze the figures, you'll see that was all.
I'm telling you, they let those kids run wild up there. Well, maybe it serves them right. You know what I mean?
Is everyone here?
The old man is inside.
Oh, would you knock on the door for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's vote. Who knows, maybe we can all get out of here, huh?
Uh-huh. Okay, then I think that, of course, you know that we have a first-degree murder charge here, and if we vote the accused guilty, we've got to send him to the chair.
Dang, straight to the chair?
All those voting guilty, please raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11 guilty. All those voting not guilty? 1. Right.
I feel like that would be me.
Well, now we know where we are.
Boy, oh boy, there's always one.
Yep.
I mean, you sat in court with the rest of us. You heard what we did. The kid's a dangerous killer. You could see it.
He's 18 years old.
Well, that's old enough. He stabbed his own father 4 inches into the chest.
11 votes for guilty. It's not easy to raise my hand and send a boy off to die without talking about it first. I'm not trying to change your mind. It's just that we're talking about somebody's life here. We can't decide it in 5 minutes, supposing we're wrong.
Suppose.
Yep, exactly.
This kid's been kicked around all of his life. You know, born in a slum, mother dead since he was 9. He lived for a year and a half in an orphanage when his father was serving a jail term for forgery.
You're not going to tell me that we're supposed to believe this kid knowing what he is? Listen, I've lived among them all my life. You can't believe a word they say. You know that.
Only an ignorant man can believe that.
Ooh. Ooh.
Well, look, maybe this is an idea. Now, I haven't given it much thought, but it seems to me that it's up to the group of us to convince this gentleman that he's wrong and we're right. Now, maybe if we each took a couple of minutes just to... Well, it was just a quick idea.
No.
It's hard to put into words. I just think he's guilty. I thought it was obvious from the word go.
The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's in the Constitution.
Oh, well, sure, I know that. What I meant
Yep.
was well, I just think he's guilty. I mean, somebody saw him do it.
Okay. At 10 minutes after 12 on the night of the killing, he heard loud noises. Said it sounded like a fight. And he heard the kid yell out, "I'm gonna kill you." Just as sentimental as the next fella. I know he's only 18, but he's still got to pay for what he did.
I'm with you.
Okay,
But was it self-defense?
Anyway, that the boy's entire story was flimsy. He claimed he was at the movies during the time of the killing, and yet 1 hour later, he couldn't remember the names of the films he saw or who played in them.
here's a woman who's lying in bed. She can't sleep. She's dying with the heat. You know what I mean? Anyway, she looks out the window, and right across the street, she sees the kid stick the knife into his father. And they proved in court that at night, you can look through the windows of an L train when the lights are out and see what's happening on the other side.
You don't believe the boy's story. How come you believe the woman's? She's one of them, too, isn't she?
You're a pretty smart fella, aren't you?
That would so be me. I would be asking questions, not just believing he said, she said.
I was looking for a motive. That's very important because if you don't have a motive, where's your case, right? Anyway, that testimony from those people in the apartment across the hall from the kid's apartment, that was very powerful.
This boy's been hit so many times in his life that violence is practically it's a normal state of affairs with him.
It may have been too many. Everyone has a breaking point. Anything else?
Well, look at his record. When he was 10, he was in children's court. He threw a rock at a teacher. When he was 15, he was at reform school. He was picked up twice for knife fighting. Oh, yeah, they say he's real handy with a knife. Oh, this is a very fine boy.
It's these kids, the way they are nowadays. When I was a kid, I used to call my father Sir. That's right, Sir. You ever hear a kid call his father that anymore?
Fathers don't seem to think it's important anymore. When he was 9 years old, he ran away from a fight.
I saw it. I was so embarrassed I almost threw up. I said, I'm going to make a man out of you if I have to break you in two trying.
Okay. Now we know why he wants the guilty verdict.
Haven't seen him for 2 years.
I wonder why.
Well, let's get going.
I think we're missing the point here. This boy, let's say he's the product of a broken home in a filthy neighborhood. We can't help that. We're here to decide whether he's innocent or guilty, not to go into the reasons why he grew up the way he did. It's no secret children from slum backgrounds are potential menaces to society. Now, I think...
Brother, you can say that again. The kids who crawl out of these places are real trash. I don't want any part of them, I'm telling you.
Looks like he's having second thoughts.
Oh, come on, fella. He didn't mean you. Let's not be so sensitive.
This sensitivity I can understand.
Okay, look, let's stop the arguing. We're only wasting time.
We were all going to try to convince me, wasn't that the idea?
Check, that was the idea.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, right?
I mean, here, you take it. You know, you take on the responsibility. I'll just keep my mouth shut, that's all.
What are you getting so hot about? Calm down, will you?
No, don't tell me to calm down. Here, you want to take the chair? Just take it.
What are you getting so hot about? Yeah. They're getting angry. They're getting worked up.
Well, if you want me to tell you how I feel about it, it's all right with me.
Boy, I don't care what you do.
All right, I don't have anything.
I like the camera work in this one room scene.
I began to get the feeling that the defense counsel wasn't conducting a thorough enough cross-examination. I mean, he let too many things go by, little things that...
What little things? Listen, when these fellas don't ask questions, it's because they know the answers already and they figure they'll be hurt.
Maybe it's also possible for a lawyer to be just plain stupid, isn't it? I mean, it's possible. Someone else claims he heard the killing, saw the boy run out afterwards, and there was a lot of circumstantial evidence. But actually, those two witnesses were the entire case for the prosecution.
Yeah, and they can lie, too.
Oh, come on. Nobody can know a thing like that. This isn't an exact science.
Exactly, but you're willing to send this kid to his death. These are questions that need to be asked.
Oh, saw what it looks like. Why do we have to see it again?
The gentleman has a right to see exhibits and evidence. Say, could you bring us the knife?
Knife?
Yeah, thank you. This wasn't what you'd call an ordinary knife. It had a very unusual carved handle and blade. The storekeeper who sold it to him said it was the only one of its kind he had ever had in stock. He claims that he went to a movie at about 11:30, returning home at 3:10 to find his father dead and himself arrested.
He also claims the two detectives arrested him and threw him down a half a flight of stairs.
What actually happened is this. The boy stayed home, had another fight with his father, stabbed him to death, and left the house at 10 minutes after 12. He even
I love how they can just touch the murder weapon like that.
It's possible the boy lost his knife and that somebody else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's just possible.
Take a look at this knife. I've never seen one like it. Neither had the storekeeper who sold it to the boy.
I'm just saying a coincidence is possible.
And I say it's not possible.
Oh.
I bought that in a little pawn shop just 2 blocks from the boy's house. It cost $6.
It's against the law to buy or sell switchblade knives.
That's right, I broke the law.
Maybe there are 10 knives like that, so what?
Maybe there are.
Well, what does it mean? You found another knife like it. What's that, the discovery of the age or something?
You mean you're asking us to believe that somebody else did the stabbing with exactly the same kind of knife?
Okay, fellas, let's take our seats. There's no point standing around all over the place.
There are still 11 of us here who think he's guilty.
Right. What do you think you're going to accomplish? You're not going to change anybody's mind. So if you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, go ahead. The kid will be tried again and found guilty as sure as he's born.
You know, we can be here all night.
It's only one night. A boy may die.
Yeah, that is a good point. It's better to talk about it for hours than let an innocent boy die.
Somebody saw the kid stab his father. What more do we need? You guys can talk the ears right off my head. You know what I mean? Assistant or something. What does he know about it?
Hey, let's hold it down. These side arguments are only slowing us up.
I have a proposition to make to all of you. I'm going to call for another vote. I want you 11 men to vote by secret written ballot. I won't stand alone. We'll take in a guilty verdict to the judge right now. But if anyone votes not guilty, we stay here and talk it out.
That seems reasonable. I think there is at least one other guy. I think the guy in the dark suit, he looked like he wasn't sure. I like this camera work. It's simple but effective.
Guilty? Guilty? Guilty. Not guilty.
There you go.
Boy, how do you like that?
Oh, and another chap flips his wings.
All right. Who was it? Come on, I want to know.
If the gentleman wants it to remain secret...
Secret? What do you mean, secret? There are no secrets in a jury room. I know who it was. If that isn't the most sickening... Why don't you drop a quarter in this collection
Might
box?
be the guy next to him.
It doesn't matter. He's very excitable. Sit down.
Excitable? You bet I'm excitable. We're trying to put a guilty man in the chair where he belongs.
Hey, come on, huh?
What made you change your vote?
He didn't change his vote. I did.
There you go.
If you don't mind.
Do we have to listen to this?
The man wants to talk.
Thank you.
Oh, that's the whole point why you're in this room, to deliberate.
The boy in trial is probably guilty, but I want to hear more. Right now, the vote is 10 to 2. I'm talking here. You have no right to leave this
Can't
room.
hear you. He never will. Let's sit down.
Always some character ready with an idea, see? And it kills me. It's the weirdest thing in the world, the way they sometimes precede their idea with a little phrase, see, like... Run it up the flagpole and see if anyone salutes it. I mean, it's idiotic, but it's funny.
Okay, very funny.
Glad you're not one of those lets these emotional appeals influence him.
He doesn't want to hear it. You were kind of an asshole to him.
Beep, beep, beep. Ba, 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 ba.
I'm an architect.
You know what the soft sell is? Well, you got it, believe me. drinks, jokes, tricks, you know? Yeah. What are you getting out of this, kicks? Or did somebody bump you on the head one time and you haven't gotten over it?
Maybe.
You know, you do-gooders are all alike. But what are you wasting our time for? Why don't you donate $5 to the cause and maybe it'll make you feel better.
Wow.
It's as plain as the nose on your face. So why don't we stop wasting our time here?
What difference does it make if you get it here at the ball game?
Will be much longer?
I don't know.
Oh, he's guilty for sure. Not a doubt in the whole world. We should have been done already.
Is everyone coming in here one by one to try to convince him to change his mind?
You think he's not guilty, huh?
I don't know. It's possible.
Supposing you talk us all out of this and kid really did knife his father, huh?
The old man who lived downstairs says he heard the kid yell out, "I'm going to kill you." Now, he ran to the door and he saw the kid running down the stairs and out of the house. What does that mean to you? Ceiling, the window was open. So was the one upstairs. It was a hot night, remember?
It was another apartment. It's not that easy to identify a voice, particularly a shouting voice.
Identified it. She said she saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. There were 6 cars on the train. She saw the killing through the last 2 cars.
Has anybody here any idea how long it would take an elf? This isn't a game.
The nerve.
All right, listen,
The absolute nerve.
All right, forget it. It's
I think you're the one with the nerve.
Has anybody any idea how long it takes an elevator train going at medium speed to pass a given point?
What has that to do with anything?
How long? Take a guess.
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
What do you think?
Come on, what's the guessing game for?
What do you say?
10 seconds is about right.
All right, say 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. Now let's say the given point is the open window of the room where the killing took place. You can reach out of that window and almost touch the L tracks, right?
I just finished painting an apartment that overlooked an L line. I was there for 3 days.
What was it like?
What do you mean?
I lived in a second-floor apartment near the L line once. When the window is open and the train goes by, the noise is almost unbearable. You can hardly hear yourself think. Let's take 2 pieces of testimony and try to put them together. The old man in the apartment downstairs. He says he heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," and a split second later heard a body hit the floor. The woman across the street swore positively she looked out of the window and saw the killing through the last 2 cars of a passing elevated train, right? The last... Since the woman saw the killing through the last 2 cars, we can assume that the body hit the floor just as the train went by. With the L roaring past his nose, it's not possible he could have heard it.
That's idiotic. Of course he heard
Do you
it.
think he could have heard it?
He said he yelled at the top of his voice. That's good enough for me.
See? This guy should be a detective.
Well, I think testimony that could put a boy into the electric chair should be that accurate.
Yes. Exactly. Exactly.
Why should he lie? What's he got to gain?
Attention, maybe.
You keep coming in with these bright sayings. Why don't you send them into a paper? They pay $3 a piece.
If you say stuff like that to him again, I'm gonna lay you out.
What does that mean? I'm gonna lay you out. I'm gonna start using that. I'm gonna lay you out. Yeah, leave the old guy alone.
Nobody seeks his advice after 75 years. Gentlemen, that's a very sad thing to mean nothing. Man. It would be so hard for him to recede into the background.
Oh, wait a minute. What are you trying to do? Tell us he'd lie just so he could be important once?
No. He wouldn't really lie.
It's possible.
That's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that? What do you know about it?
But supposing
You
he
didn't
did.
prove it at all. What are you talking
Wait a minute.
about?
Supposing he really did hear it. This phrase, how many times have all of us used it? Probably thousands. I could kill you for that, darling. Junior, you do that once more and I'm gonna kill you.
Literally, all the time.
Don't tell me you didn't mean it. Anybody says a thing like that the way he said it, they mean it.
Yeah.
Now listen, this guy's trying to make you believe things that aren't so. The kid said he was going to kill him, and he did kill him.
I don't think so. He's much too bright for that.
Bright? He's a common, ignorant slob. He don't even speak good English.
He doesn't even speak good English.
You what?
You heard me.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
There you go.
Well, if this isn't the living end, huh? What are you basing it on? Stories this guy made?
This is how a deliberation should be. You talk it out.
Look, the kid had a lawyer, didn't he? He presented his case, not you. How come you got so much to say?
Look, lawyers aren't infallible, you know.
Baltimore, please, huh?
He was court appointed. It's the kind of case that brings him nothing. No money, no glory, not even much chance of winning. That's not a very promising situation for a young lawyer.
From what was presented at the trial, the boy looks guilty on the surface, but maybe if we go deeper...
There you go. That's the point.
Now, how was he caught by the police? He came back home at 3 o'clock or so. If he really had killed his father, why would he come back home 3 hours later? Wouldn't he be afraid of being caught?
That's a good question.
Three relatives.
Yeah. I don't see anything funny about it.
But if he knew the knife could be identified, why did he leave it there in the first place?
Right.
Look, you voted guilty. What side are you on?
That the body wouldn't be discovered till the next day. Well, after all, it was the middle of the night. I bet he figured nobody'd find the body till the next day.
Pardon, this is my whole point. The woman across the street testified that a moment after she saw the killing, that is a moment after the train went by, she screamed.
Maybe the boy did kill his father. Didn't hear the scream, did run out in a panic, did calm down 3 hours later and come back to get the knife, risking being caught by the police. Maybe all of those things happened, but maybe they didn't.
What do you mean, Del? What are you talking about? Didn't the old man see him running out of the house? He's twisting the facts, I'm telling you. Did or didn't the old man see the kid running out of the house at 12:10? Well, did or didn't he? You like that?
Now, look, witnesses can make mistakes.
Sure, when you want them to, they do. Or when he wants them to, they do. You know what I mean?
Yelling down.
Oh,
There's just not enough evidence for them to be convinced that he's guilty.
I never saw so much time spent on nothing.
It only takes a second.
I'm telling you, we can yak here next Tuesday. Where's it all getting us?
Pardon? I vote not guilty.
Oh.
What?
What are you talking about? I mean, we're all going crazy in here or something.
I want you to get up and tell me why you changed your vote. Come on, now, give me reasons.
I don't have to defend my decision to you. There is a reasonable doubt in my mind.
What reasonable doubt? That's nothing but words. Here, look at this. Now, what about this, Mr. Reasonable Doubt?
That's not the knife, don't you
Wasn't
remember?
seen.
Oh, brilliant.
He said he went from his bedroom to the front door. Now, isn't that enough?
Where was the bedroom?
It was down the hall somewhere.
I thought you remembered everything. Don't you remember that?
No. Mr. Foreman, I'd like to see a diagram of the apartment.
Look, why don't we just have him run the trial all over again so we can get everything
How
straight?
come you're the only one in this room who wants to see exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one, too.
I love how they're creating tension and suspense without, like, there's no music, it's just camera work and people talking. I think that's pretty impressive.
He was an old man. Half the time he was confused. How could he be positive about anything?
There you go. There you go. You just proved his point.
As soon as the body hit the floor, he said he heard footsteps upstairs running toward the front door. Heard the upstairs door open, the footsteps start down the stairs. He said he got to his own front door as fast as he could, and he swore it couldn't have been more than 15 seconds. Now, if the killer began running immediately...
But maybe he didn't.
The old man said he did. All right, here's the apartment where the killing took place. The old man's apartment was directly beneath and exactly the same. 15 seconds after the body hit the floor.
Correct.
Now, let's see, it's 12 feet from the bed to the door. The hall is 43 feet. He would have had to walk 12 feet, open the bedroom door, walk 43 feet down, and open the front door, all in... Those two chairs are the old man's bed. I just paced off 12 feet across the room. This would be the bedroom door.
Oh, that's crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that.
I would like to see it. 43 feet. I'll pace over that wall and back again.
According to you, it'll only take 15 seconds. Now, we can spare that, see?
Come on, knock it off.
Okay.
41 seconds.
Here's what I think happened. The old man heard the fight between the boy and his father a few hours earlier. Got to his front door as fast as he could, heard somebody racing down the stairs, and assumed it was the boy.
I think that's possible.
Assume? What's the matter with you guys? You all know he's guilty. He's got to burn. You're letting him slip through our fingers.
Slip through our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I would.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a sadist.
Get him out! Get him!
You don't really mean you'll kill me, do you?
Yep, see? He made another point.
You know, friendly little argument that's... Just went through with that diagram. You can take it.
Friendly little argument.
Yeah.
Jeez, and I don't think the heat in there is helping at all. They're all sweating.
What are you looking at?
Dang.
Well, I suppose somebody has to start it off again.
I beg pardon.
I beg pardon. What are you so polite about?
He said, "What are you so polite about?" Oh man, that's good.
If nobody else has an idea, I might have a cutie here. I mean, I haven't given it much thought, but let's throw it out on the stoop and see if the cat licks it up.
The cat licks it up.
Yeah, if the boy.
The vote is now 6-6.
Yeah, and we go into extra innings here, huh?
6-6. I'm telling you, some of you people in here must be out of your minds. A kid like that.
This is a miserable task. That's why nobody wants to ever do jury duty. I personally find it fascinating.
Yeah, I go for that too. Listen, let's take it to the judge and let the kid take his chance with 12 other guys.
I don't think the judge will accept a hung jury. We haven't been in here very long.
Well, let's find out.
Pardon, maybe you don't fully understand the term reasonable doubt.
What do you mean, I don't understand? Well, how do you like this guy?
The boy couldn't remember the names of the movies he saw because he wasn't there that night.
According to the police testimony in court, the boy was questioned by the detectives in the kitchen of his apartment, while the body of his father was lying on the floor in the bedroom. Do you think you could remember details under those circumstances?
Another solid point.
Monday night, my wife and I went to the movies.
What did you see?
The Scarlet Circle. It is a very clever whodunit.
What was the second feature?
The Remarkable Mrs. Bainbridge.
I saw that. It's called The Amazing Mrs. Bainbridge.
Yes, The Amazing Mrs. Bainbridge. I think that's right. It's a very inexpensive second feature with unknown.
And you weren't under an emotional stress, were you?
No.
Nope, but he's sweating.
I think the point is made.
Big point.
Well, there was this whole business about the stab wound and how it was made. The downward angle of it, you know.
Don't tell me we're going to start with that again. They've been over it and over it.
Well, I know they did, but I don't go along with it. It's a very awkward thing to stab down into the chest of someone who's more than half a foot taller than you are.
Give me that. I'll give you a demonstration. Somebody get up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
It's about right, maybe a little more.
Okay, a little more.
What's it all?
He looks like he wants to do it too.
Now, this is the way I'd stab a man who was taller than I was. Look at the angle. Down and in. And this is the way it was done. Now, tell me I'm wrong.
How do you use a switchblade?
Well, he never used it like this. See, you lose too much time switching hands. Here's how. Underhanded. Anyone who's ever used a switch knife.
How do you know? Were you in the room when the father was killed?
No.
Neither were you.
I don't think you can determine what type of wound the boy might or might not have made simply because he knew how to handle a knife.
Actually, you could.
I don't know about the rest of them, but I'm getting a little tired of this yakety-yakking back and forth. It's getting us nowhere. So I guess I'll have to break it up. I changed my vote to not guilty.
You what? What do you mean you've had enough? That's no answer.
Hey, listen, you just take care of yourself, huh? You know?
He's right. That's not an answer. You have sat here and voted guilty with everyone else because there are some baseball tickets burning a hole in your pocket. Who tells you that you have the right to play like this with a man's life? Don't you care?
Now, wait a minute.
He's making very good points.
Or don't you have the guts to do what you think is right?
Now, listen.
Guilty or not guilty?
I told you. Not guilty.
Why?
Look, I don't have to...
You do have to. Say it. Why?
Well, the vote's 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. I mean, all these picky little points you keep bringing up, they don't mean nothing.
How do you figure they mean nothing? Everything matters.
They don't need any real big reason to kill someone either. No, sir. They get drunk. Oh, they're real big drinkers, all of them. Well, nobody's blaming them for it. That's the way they are, by nature. You know what I mean? Violent. Where are you going? Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to...
What about you?
Oh, sure, there's some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first one to say that. I've known a couple who were okay, but that's the exception, you know what I mean? Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What's going on here? Well, I'm trying to tell you, you're making a big mistake, you people.
I love how he's just being so indirectly racist. Them.
This kid on trial here, his type. Well, don't you know about them? There's a danger here. Listen to me. Listen.
I have. Now sit down and don't open your mouth again.
Yes, please, thank you. Clearly, no one wants to hear what you have to say anymore.
It's difficult to keep personal prejudice out of a thing like this. Wherever you run into it, prejudice always obscures the truth. I don't really know what the truth is. I don't suppose anybody will ever really know.
Nobody does. None of you were there. It's about the evidence and the facts presented.
6:15. Someone before mentioned 7 o'clock. I think that's a point at which we might begin to discuss the question of whether we're a hung jury or not.
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting, but you made a gesture that reminded me of something. No, I wouldn't know about that. I've never worn my glasses. 2020.
Listen, will you come on already with the optometrist bit?
And those same marks on the sides of her nose.
Holy smokes, you know he's
right. Just give me a minute. And I'll be finished.
How do you know whether she wore glasses? Just because she was rubbing her nose?
Now, she had those marks. I saw them.
Well, so what? What do you think that means?
Listen, I'm getting so sick of your yelling.
Oh,
here.
come on, forget it.
Seriously, me too.
This one, too. She had these things on the side of her nose. What do you call those on the side?
Well, what point are you making here? She had dyed hair, marks on her nose. Well, what does that mean?
Could those marks be made by anything other than eyeglasses?
This guy's very excited.
No, they couldn't.
I didn't see any marks.
I did. Strange, but I didn't think about it before.
I only know the woman's eyesight is in question now.
She had to be able to identify a person 60 feet away at night without glasses.
You can't send someone off to die on evidence like that.
Oh, don't give me that.
This guy really wants to kill this kid.
I'm convinced. Not guilty.
What's the matter with you?
I have a reasonable doubt now.
Well, what do you want? I say he's guilty.
I want to hear your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We want to hear them again. We have as much time as it takes.
Wow. How the tables have turned.
You lousy bunch of bleeding hearts. You're not going to intimidate me. I'm entitled to my opinion. Rotten kids, you work your life out.
And the truth is revealed. It's personal for him. It's not about the facts or about the reasonable doubt.
Not guilty.
Oh, that's sad. Now I understand why they have to ask so many questions before they pick a jury. Really awesome. I really thoroughly enjoyed that movie. I can't believe it took me this long to watch that. It's been on my list forever. I'm blown away at how simple yet compelling that story was. This movie shows you just how easy it is to tell a compelling story without, big car chases or big explosions or bombs or anything like that. Just 12 men in a room talking. I was so impressed by the camera work and the suspense that was built with every hole they poked in the testimonies and the evidence presented. It was just a compelling story with great dialogue, and I can definitely see why this film is so highly rated and why it's a classic. It's storytelling at its finest. Let me know what you thought in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks.